And of course, a major consideration of a potential change of leadership in the White House would be the United States' relationship with Israel. As Israel forges ahead with its ambition to retake Gaza, world leaders have been calling for a humanitarian pause in the conflict. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken echoed those sentiments on the sidelines of the G7 foreign ministers meeting in Japan. He says the pause is vital to allow aid into the enclave and for civilians to flee the conflict. Joining me now for more on this is Professor John Blaxland. He's Director of ANU's North America Liaison Office and at the Australian Embassy, but he's back in Sydney now. John Blaxland, great to see you and welcome back. What do you think about the implications of the US election? Been talking about it at length already, but in terms of the Middle East, because the US is the number one security partner and protector, an umbrella for Israel.
Yeah, no, I think by and large, you know, on the US policy front, I think there's probably more continuity than change, but it's too much conjecture too far out. I mean, the issue is for now is what happens with the conflict in Gaza and how much we believe what Hamas has to say. I must admit, I'm blown away at how Hamas figures are taken without really being challenged. You know, we've got to remember, this is a propaganda war as much as anything else. Hamas wanted this conflict to happen. It knew that this would be the Israeli reaction. It's actually getting what it wanted, and it's getting lots of imagery that it's then able to exploit for, motivating a lot of protest around the world and making Israel look bad. That's really, we shouldn't be surprised by that. What is, as I say, it's surprising we're taking at face value what we're hearing from Hamas. Yes, the situation in Palestine is horrible. It's a war. There's no question about that. And I don't know what the options really are for Israel here. I mean, the point is they're facing the requirement to deal with Hamas in a way that is different to the past. The attempt at so-called mowing the grass has not worked. They've got to try and root it out. But as we know, war is an extension of politics by the means, and without a clear plan of what to get to politically, it's hard to know how this is going to pan out. But a pause, who's going to benefit from the pause? Well, I would say that I suspect Hamas would benefit from the pause. I think there's another angle to this as well, Kieran, that's not really appreciated, or at least it's something Hamas plays down. They have miles and miles of underground passageways. They've got facilities. They've been storing up fuel, water, supplies, hospital material. There's plenty of space down there, it appears, for a lot of people to be sheltered. This is what they invested their time and money in, rather than with all the aid that they've received from around the world on turning Gaza into the Middle East Hong Kong. They've turned it into a fortress. I don't know, it's hard to think, what options does Israel have? What do you do in this circumstance where Hamas is going to blow the story out of proportion, and that Hamas is actually using human shields? It's devilishly difficult and it's ugly. And of course, the protests are happening in Australia, aimed at trying to get the Australian government and other Western governments as well to put pressure on Israel to stop, which is what Hamas wants, obviously.